Hello and welcome to Enterprise Morning. It's a Friday, so it's Enterprise Friday. I'm Chinyere Igwe Odu.
And I am Henry Igwe.
Absolutely. We'll start by looking at what the papers have for us. Of course, we have our guests already sitting here to do justice to the papers. We have Emeka Madunagu and Taiwo Opelua. Thank you, sirs.
Thank you very much. Hello.
All right, so before we get right into the papers, we want you to have a say in what we say. Follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. Without further ado, let's head straight to see what the Punch has for us this morning. On the top strip, we have government under pressure to stop cybersecurity levy.
Yes, and the big story here on the Punch, a coastal highway probe reps to summon Edu Omahi AGF.
And then we have this one here, 2.7 billion naira fraud. Court imposes travel ban on Sirika daughter.
And also we have the Rivers crisis. Fubara lawmakers lock horns again.
Okay, Senate okays death penalty for drug traffickers. Henry, this seems like a good one.
Yes, it is. It's very true. I think that's all we have for
the Punch newspaper. All right, so Henry, let's stay on the story. Rivers crisis, Fubara lawmakers lock horns again. And I'll just head straight to my guest this morning, Emeka Madunagu. The truce, allow me to use, that was brokered by the President Tinubu for Rivers State. When I mean Rivers, I mean the governor and then the former governor, who is now a minister, Wike, seems to be falling like a pack of cards. Just yesterday, Fubara visited the quarters of the lawmakers. It's in the news that there's now a new Speaker of the House. You know, the wrangling seems to be taking a new turn. Is this a case of Fubara peeping into his neighbor's garden unduly?
No, he's the governor of the state. He has a right to visit anywhere in the state. After all, the Land Use Act of 1978 vests lands in the state, in the governor. So he only went to look at, some public buildings to inspect, and he said he wants to renovate the building. So what it means is that the lawmakers buying the buildings will have to vacate. You see, this is one of the disincentives to foreign direct investment in Nigeria. When you have an unstable political climate, it tells investors that they cannot trust their funds in your economy. That is one. Two, when you don't adhere to rule of law, they see one fellow called Nyesom Wike, Federal Minister of Capital Territory. Instead of facing the FCT, he's more interested in fighting a baseless, useless battle with his successor. How do you think the world looks at this? That you allow gangsterism, let me put it like that, instead of encouraging adherence to the rule of law, you are just promoting political brigandage. And you want people to bring money into your economy. It's not going to happen. The point is, it's up to Tinubu now to just call Nyesom Wike. I appointed as a minister. Yes, I know I'm interested in APC taking over Rivers State, but this is what you're doing is bad optics for my government.
Right.
And enough is enough. Because Fubara is the governor, and if he knows how to use his powers, he will make sure that Nyesom Wike and his band of courtiers and jesters do not give him any problem.
Why do I think Taiwo has a dissenting prism to what you have just inferred? Taiwo, do you have any worries? I mean, Governor Fubara has been referred to as a namby-pamby governor. I mean, he's lily-livered and all of that. But what we see playing out in recent times seems to be at cross purposes with how he has been seen as a man who is not, firm enough to take some certain decision. In hindsight, looking at all of this, and, going forward, if you were to have a sit down with him, what would you advise that he does at this time to ensure that, because, Rivers people at the end of the day, are the ones to bear the brunt, so to speak. What would you say to the governor to ensure that, Rivers State is stable and so that he can actually do his work?
Yeah, so for Rivers State, for Governor Sim Fubara, he's just like his counterpart in Lagos, people overrated their gentility and they took it as maybe humility or stupidity. But now the guy has proved to them that he's a silent lion, and even more than a lion, if there's another word to call it. So for Fubara, he has to understand that he has to put his houses in order. And before he does that, for me, I will still feel that he should go by that agreement he had with Mr. President. And for him to go by that agreement, go back to Mr. President and tell him, I'm in charge of my state. I'm ready to support what you're doing for my state and for the nation. Tell your younger brother to face his job in FCT while I face my job in Rivers State. And once I've done that, I've given him the honor. Then go back to your state. When you get back to your state, call all the assembly members together.
Which organ are you referring to now?
All the House of Assembly members.
Okay.
Call all of them together in a town. Have an organized town hall meeting. And let them understand that we are here to serve the people, not to serve one man. So if we are actually here to serve the people, let's agree at this table in the front of the people that voted us. And my people, please, these are your guys. They have accepted to work with me and to work for you. So going forward, anyone that is not ready to work for you by yourself, please do a referendum and please pull their trousers back home and give me a new candidate. It's simple as this. You know why? Politics is a game. And you must understand how to play the game.
All right, so I think I'll still love to go back to you, especially with the headline, the story we have on the coastal highway probe and the reps summon Edun and Omahi. And I'd love us to go back to the very popular catchphrase of the mic when Akpabio was the NDDC chair, and the same house, a panel asking Umahi to come and for a probe. Do you think there's something tangible that would come out of all of this?
For the Nigerian House of Representatives, when each time I hear calling a minister for a probe, most times I'm always scared of that word probe, because I'm scared there might be another jamboree in quotes. Or in
so another off the mic.
Another off the mic. So they shouldn't have called it a probe, because it's like they're playing to gallery. Once they call it a probe, they're already telling us what will happen. That we just bring some DJ and there will be some dancing and there will be some off the mic in the house. So we shouldn't have called it a probe. You should have just called it for a maybe like a report feedback mechanism to the House of Representatives. That's what you should have called it. You should have called it a probe. And what are you probing? Are you saying that the project is not viable? Where are we getting the 15 trillion from? Through borrowing, and how do we pay back? Who is footing the bill? Where is the counterpart funding? Is it the nation? Is it World Bank? Is it IMF? Who is doing the counterpart funding for this project? And how many years will they hold Nigeria to ransom for this project? Those are the conversations we should be having. It's not proving Umai. Tomorrow, Tinubu can start Umai. Another person will come. The game will continue.
Right.
So it's beyond Umai. That's why I tell people that when each time in politics, it's beyond just mentioning names. It's not about just dropping names. Maybe House of Rep might just be playing another game for us to understand they are working. Calling David Umaya and then maybe what they're doing, to me, there's nothing so special about it. Where is the funding coming from? Exactly. Let Nigerians know. Where is the funding coming from? And how many years are we going to be enslaved to the person bringing the counterpart funding? For us to understand. And what are the things that are taken away from our land? Is it our lithium in Borno State? Or is it our cocoa in the southwest? What are you taking as what? As collateral for this 15 trillion? And how many years are we going to be under your neocolonialism for us to be able to be out of that bondage of 15 trillion? That is the right question. We should, House of Rep should be asking for.
Right,
so
thank you.
Let's
look at the Guardian
newspaper. And the big story here says how real estate firms, agencies flees prospective property buyers and tenants.
And also on the Guardian, we have House of Reps direct CBN to halt implementation of 0.5% levy on e-transactions.
Yes, and also IMF projects 24% inflation rate for Nigeria by year end.
Okay, we also have here, although we've seen this story before, Senate okay's death sentence for makers of illicit drugs.
All right, so let's move to analyzing the stories in depth, and that's Emeka. Let's take a look at this issue. How real estate firms, agencies robbing investors. And we would love you to speak to this, especially as against what we see happening in Lagos State, Nigeria, where we have big firms, whom would call for investors to come buy their properties, and 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, they get such properties, overtaken by the government again. So tell me, how is this different from what we see happening today?
If you notice, I was laughing while you were, because I'm in that sector. Yeah, so I'm a player in that sector. So I know some of these things. You see, unfortunately, real estate is one sector that a lot of players don't even understand. They just see, go get land, with or without government approval. Once they settle the local people, the village people, or the moneyless, they now start carving out portions and then go all out on, publicity drive, marketing, and they start selling the land. They will not carry out an environmental impact assessment to know this estate is at the low end of an area. So what it means is that the flood coming from somewhere is going to land here. How are we going to deal with it? Or everywhere around here is flat. So when we do gutters, where will wastewater go to? 2, what is the overall objective of this estate we are building? What's the overall objective? Just to collect money and then you abandon the people. No security. You don't make provision for security. You don't make provision for facility management. Then, okay, like somebody, a client called me last night. Was asking me, somebody through whom I helped him to get land, somewhere in the east. Had hinted me in the morning that he was not telling me that the guy who owns the place, so he's not into real estate. He was just a governor's aide and he made some money. Then he just put it into the land. So now he's asking each of the allottees to bring 500,000 naira that they want to fence the place for 27 million. And I said, what is all this? When you started an estate, fine. What did he use to lure people? He said, okay, cost of land, 500,000. Survey and some other things, minus of 250. So everything, 750. Mm-hmm. Of course, no investor will hear that and not want to jump in.
Or buy 3, get 1.
Well, so now you're asking for 500,000 from each person. The original cost of the land. You don't do that because when you are selling land to people, it is assumed that the cost of development will be inside the cost of the land. Now, the man called me last night and was asking me. Now he said he heard about what do I think? I said, well, since the lady had told you not to pay yet, hold on. And then you hold on. Let's sort out what is going on. So what am I trying to say is that I'll just ask people to be very careful in buying land. Don't just, jump into any kind of land. 1, 2, try to find out about land sizes. I see what some companies sell to people and I ask, are you selling space for a poultry or a toilet for somebody? You're asking somebody to bring millions. And the standard specification for land is 648 square meters. But you are offering people 400 square meters because they don't even know what 1 square meter looks like. And then you're charging them millions. At the end of the day, where will they park their cars? What provision are you making for fencing? What provision are you making? Suppose the man says, okay, I want to set up a shop for my wife. Where will he put it? Is it inside his sitting room? But government needs to play its role as regulator. It's not just enough for officials in the ministries of physical planning and urban development, just collect some back pocket stuff. And then you say, okay, you've given approval. Then at the end of the day, basic questions are not answered. I'm not saying that there are no genuine investors. There are genuine investors, but government must see that land is a gold mine and set things in order so that you can even attract foreign investors. There are foreign investors coming in. You now have joint ventures whereby people don't sell land. What they do is that they tell you, okay, we'll be a part of the development. We own the land. Okay, let the land be our own equity. You bring in money, develop. Then we might specify how many years, maybe 30, 50 years before we review the conditions. So government needs to really look at things and sort out all the mess.
All right. Thank you so much, Emeka Madenago. Taiwo, your 2 cents on this issue, on the same issue.
Real estate giants and real estate ants must be subjected to regulatory provisions, and we must also demystify that or break down that sector. It's becoming too big for the government. So the government must come out to break down that sector. If you are having an estate, why must you have an estate at Ilupeju? Why must you have an estate at Ikeja? Even for me, not in the real estate industry. When I get to a particular place, I see real estate. I say, in less than 5 years, this building will pull down. It's very obvious. Right of way, the erosion, the environmental factors, the bridge, a lot of things. A lot of things. You can't be having about just one, let's say about 2 plots, and you're having about 4 or 5 buildings. So where's the ventilation? So you can see that the industry, to me, like I said earlier, the industry is becoming too big for the government. Right. So the government must first and foremost what? Break the industry and split it into different areas. That if you are coming to the real estate, are you coming through agriculture? Are you coming through environment? Are you coming through recycling? Or are you coming through construction? Or are you coming through the civil aspect? Or are you coming through the electrical aspect? Where exactly are you playing? You can't come in as a real estate agent and say that I want to do everything. No, you can't. You can't. Okay. And that's one thing government is not aligning with. You can't do everything. Break this or split this real estate industry, split it into subsectoral areas, and you get the results we are looking for.
All right. Thank you so much, Taiwo Okwelua and Emeka Madenago. Thank you so much. All right. That's all for the newspaper review this morning. When we return, our main conversation, and David is standing by with some juicy stories on the entertainment bits. That's in a moment.